Come on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again. This is the New Jersey Real Estate Investors Association. I'm your host, Elijah, and let me tell you, I am so excited to have my man, Benedict, here with us. Man, this dude is an animal in the entrepreneurship space. I know you have a real humbling story in terms of how you got started and just kind of the man that you've became over the years that you've been involved in this journey, man. I'm excited to dive in with you. I'm excited to reconnect with you. And I'm excited to have you on here, man. How you feeling today?
Man, I appreciate that. The energy, like your energy from day one is always on 1,000. I've always appreciated that about you. And also, I'm very proud of you too. I remember when you first getting started, going to every real estate meetup, and you says, listen, I'm going to learn every single aspect of the game so I could be on top. And, like I told you the first day, whatever I could do to help you put you along that journey, so to even see you and be sitting on your part of the segment is big. I remember you was on the Celebrity Fix and Flip. So I'm definitely honored to be on the show and happy to see you come such a long way.
Man, the feeling is mutual. The energy is exactly the same, and I love it, man. Yeah, because those are back in the days when at your restaurant. So I remember those. Those were amazing.
Definitely. And we did that walkthrough on that property. You seen me start, gut it out, rehab it. A lot of people talk about it, but to actually be front line doing the work is really what sets you apart.
100%. I love it, man. We're excited to dive in. So for anyone who's tuning in right now, we're going to get started here in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Okay. So what I want to do is we got a lot of people tuning in. I want you guys to use this comment section. This is how we're going to be engaging with each other. This is how we're going to be networking. This is how we're going to get all your questions answered. So make sure you guys are using this comment section. Okay. To start this off, I want you guys to let me know what's been the most exciting thing that you've learned today. What's been the number one thing that you guys have learned today? Put it in the comment section, drop it down below. I'm going to be pinning these up. Okay. Now there is a slight lag time, but we're just going to flow with it because that's what we do. In addition to that, we're going to do some random giveaways throughout this. We don't know what we're giving away yet, just so you guys know. This is going to be off the top of the cuff, but we're going to do it. Benedict's going to give something away. I'm going to give something away. We're going to do it at a random time. So make sure you guys are on your toes. Make sure you're ready. I feel like that's what entrepreneurship's all about, is being ready. What's Will Smith say? He's like, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready or something like that.
Right. Stay ready. You don't have to get ready. That's right.
Put it in the comment section. Let me know, what's the biggest thing that you guys have learned today. Drop it down below so we can pin these up. I'm going to get started here in a second. I'm going to give a quick intro to Benedict. This way you guys can be familiar with the power that's behind this man and just the knowledge, the resources, and the willingness to continue going. And then we're going to dive into his story. We're going to figure out, what it's took to get to where he is today and the direction that he's going, because what he's doing is not very many people do. And I'm super excited to be a part of this journey with you, man.
I appreciate it.
All right. So let's kind of go ahead and get started here. So first and foremost, for anyone who doesn't know Benedict, right, he is a successful and well-respected venture capitalist and real estate developer with a proven track record. He has literally been doing this for many years, and he's also demonstrated success achieving large-scale returns on equity and real estate investments. Benedict is a founding partner and principal of Alpha Development and Investment LLC, a real estate company focused on urban neighborhood revitalization through the rehabilitation of blighted residential properties. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what blighted residential properties are, do you mind telling us what those things look like before you touch them?
Man, they look like something that after, Beirut, like after a war, a lot of these properties in Newark is, they've been going through some hard times. And a lot of these properties weren't even rehabbed since, they had the riots and things like that. A lot of properties were just forgotten about because I think after the riots, something like about 50 to 100,000 people left downtown left Newark after the riots. So a lot of properties were just abandoned.
Yeah, and these are those buildings that look like they're about to fall over, and they just are an absolute nightmare. And you're always wondering, like, what kind of crazy person would take these down? Well, this is one of those guys.
me. I want them all.
So if you get them, make sure you send them to him. But we're excited to learn, just your process and all of it and all that stuff. So before we kind of get started, and I know you also have, an amazing restaurant in literally near the downtown Newark area, La Rouge, right?
Right. In the heart of the downtown area.
In the
I'm like
heart
from
of it.
a block away from City Hall.
Yeah, man, it's such an awesome location. I know you guys have been hustling there for years, and just to see how active and involved you are, I can tell you're really someone who cares. You're passionate about the area, and you put your money where your talk is. So really means a lot. I love it. All right, so let's get started. So first and foremost, Benedict, can you kind of take me back to when you first got started in real estate? Because there's a lot of people on here. This is going to be streamed to thousands of people once we're done. But take me back to the very beginning. What was it like? Why did you make the decision to get in real estate? And what was it like when you just got started in the real estate space?
I would say that I was interested in real estate since I would probably say the 6th grade.
Yeah.
Because where I lived at the time, it was a complex and I was always good with numbers. And I was like, if my mom is paying $1,000 and there's 200 units here, that means this one man who comes and picks up the rent. I remember him picking up the rent and his SL, older guy, he was probably like in his 70s, but he's picking up almost like $100,000 cash because it was mostly a Caribbean-based community that I lived in at the time. And most people, they weren't astute to have either the green cards to have a regular bank account, or they just was on check systems, some of the things that urban areas go through. And so he would be collecting a lot of cash and he would always have a security guard with him. I remember that.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, if I ever had the opportunity to purchase one of these, I would be set. As a young man growing up in urban America, is typically 2 ways out, either through music or through sports. And I realized that in that moment, this man that's picking up this piece of property, this money every month, he just owns a piece of property and he doesn't even live in the area. And he's making just as much money as some athletes and singers, if not more. And so that really struck my interest when it came to the real estate. Fast forwarding in my 20s, kind of knocking my head around, looking to see what would be my next thing, because I was tired of working at jobs and I was fired, unfortunately. Well, fortunately,
right.
I was working for Warner Music Group at the time. And under Warner Music Group, you had Maverick, which is Madonna's record label. You had Elektra, you had and then Warner Music. And so, I had an opportunity to just see all of the beautiful things going on in California. Still didn't get around to real estate yet. And then one day somebody said, hey, you got to come to a seminar. It's called World Leadership Group, WLG. And what WLG was, it was a multi-level marketing company where if you owned a house or you were looking to buy a house, it was basically looking to get you mortgages. And so I got reintroduced to real estate that way, but I didn't like anybody controlling my money so much, where I would have like an upline, I would have to bring 2 people in, and it was just too much. So I just learned real estate in its totality. I invested in a property when I was like 23 years old. I spent $5,000 and invested in a property that was on a golf resort, and it was going to be rented out as extended stays or luxury homes for people that would be coming over from the Europe area, that would be staying in Florida for like 3-4 months. It was really right outside of Orlando, and Orlando is a big tourist spot. And I ended up losing my money because the administration had changed. And when the administration changed, what the last administration had offered the developer, which was to build roads leading into the development, it wasn't money in the budget. And so that the project, people lost their money. So that didn't discourage me. I moved up to New Jersey, and then I bought my first piece of property in Irvington. I made $60,000, but $60,000 at one time for a 24-year-old was amazing. So I took that money and I started buying properties in Newark, and I never looked back since then. And in buying the houses, I was able to realize that it's more than just buying houses. You also have to build a community. So I built a lot of ancillary businesses. I opened a vocational school called Regal Institute. I partnered up with local car dealerships, and then I opened up La Rouge Restaurant and Lounge. And I'm in the process of hopefully opening up a credit union or a small bank. And that's how you're able to control the narrative of the entire community. You got to house them, educate them, employ them, and bank them, and then you have a sustainable community.
Man, there's something big that I want to hit on, and it's that dream that you had as someone who was back in the 6th grade, which you in essence were in. It's kind of like inspiration, where you saw a man who pulled up and he looked like, he kind of had things going on in his life. And I'm sure that was a little inspiration for you. And I like that it took years for that to just kind of manifest.
Correct.
And when you were given the opportunity in your early 20s, you're like, hey, now's the time. And it seems like you made a decision. And I've heard a lot of awesome stories about how you used to hire guys like on the same block to help you gut renovate some of the properties, and because those guys would come to your restaurant and be like, "Yeah, Benedict, I used to be one of your workers for the properties," and I'm like, "Yo, that's so cool." And so, can you kind of talk to us about that first property when you were 24 years old, young guy in the neighborhood? What was this property also one of those ones where you had to completely rip it apart, or talk to me about that first property?
Well, that first rehab property was tough because, one, I didn't have any experience. And one thing that's bad in our community with the older generation is it's kind of hard for them to reach down to bring the next person on. And so there was no meetups back then. There was the 24 years old guys are partying. They want to go out. We're going to Miami trips. So really no one's thinking about longevity. So I was almost like a man on an island. The older guys didn't want to teach me the business, and the younger guys, they didn't find any interest in the business. So I had to kind of self-teach myself. So I lost a lot of money. People took advantage of me, but with every investment, there's a lesson. And the biggest thing that someone had taught me, and that's why I always talk about it, is there's nothing like going live. You can read all of the books you want. You can go to all of the seminars you want, but until you close on that property and the time starts ticking, from private investors to hard money lenders to your end buyers to yourself, you know what I mean? To the no vacations, to you telling your wife, listen, I can't do anything this Christmas again, just to be where you are today. And that first piece of property, like I said, it was really walking in a house where Freddy Krueger lived, Nightmare on Elm Street. But the feeling of satisfaction that you get when you rehab a property like that, the morale that you lift of the community, because these are houses that all sorts of crimes go on that you couldn't even imagine, from drugs, prostitution, kids walking past these properties, not being inspired and be like, one of the greatest feelings that I had is when I renovated an entire street, like really from top to bottom. Some properties I bought even more than they were worth because I wanted that feeling of completion. And the kids will walk on the block like, hey, I live here. And when you can make a kid that's never felt that way about his community because you decided to put stucco as opposed to painting the aluminum siding that's all bent, it gives you a satisfaction when you're giving to the community, because that $4,000 or $5,000 that seemed like a lot of money back then, now in the business it's a drop in the bucket. But that satisfaction of being able to still drive down that street, even though you don't own the house anymore, that you did that. And to me, that's no HUD could replace that. No final number on that HUD could replace that.
Yeah, man, definitely someone who's heart-led. You are definitely someone who leads with the heart, and everything else is execution from there.
Absolutely. I mean, but listen, people get, a misconception of, being kind-hearted or, being grassroots. You can still make a lot of money from it. You know what I mean? Just the word philanthropist, to be a broke philanthropist is an oxymoron. So you gotta be able to make the money in order to continue to help. And that's what I tell a lot of nonprofits.
Right.
Just because you're a nonprofit, it doesn't mean that you cannot make money. It just has to be all spent or allocated by the end of the year, but you still need money to continue your mission.
I love this. Guys, if you guys are getting any value from this, make sure you hit the like and share button, send this out to your friends. This information is so valuable. So Benedict, knowing that you've literally renovated full blocks, you've done gut renovations. Have you ever done like those $20,000, $30,000 rehabs? Do those things exist?
I would say a $20,000, $30,000 rehab I probably done as a wholesale deal. But when you're passionate about building these houses and you really know what it takes to put them back together, that if these houses have been sitting for 5+ years with water damage, that it's really more than, $20,000-$30,000. I like to get to the nitty gritty of it because I know that I'm selling most likely to someone that doesn't know anything about renovation. They're just looking to live.
Right. And so for you, you've always been focused in the, hey, let's buy this, let's fix it up, let's deliver a great product to the market, and then let's sell it to someone who wants to live here for the next 15, 20, 30 years. Has that always been the end in mind?
Yes. I mean, it don't necessarily have to be that they're going to live there 15, 20, 30 years because majority of the properties that I sell are multifamilies. And I tell everybody that the multifamily is it's a step for you to get your single family property. So it should be part of your investment portfolio. So the 4-3-2-1 rule, you buy a 4-family, live in that, then you scale down to a 3-family, then you scale down to a 2-family, then eventually you live in your single family. Because using your first time home buyer's ability is something that you should use all the way down the line, being that you're putting such a low percentage rate down. But typically I like to sell houses to my tenants as well. I have a rule where you should only be my tenants for a year because I'll put you through a strict program where I'll take you off of check systems so you can get a regular bank account so you don't have to go to check cash in places. Typically my tenants, they're on subsidized assistance. So if you're on subsidized assistance, you also get what you call education vouchers that you'll get from like the unemployment office, and that's just county. It's 2 places. It's in Newark, 990, and then East Orange, 50 South Clinton Place. Well, they pay you $4,000 for every in-demand occupation. So that's why you'll see a lot of schools that offer dental technicians, CNA, medical billing, etc. So I align people with certain missions and job and skill sets where they'll be able to provide for themselves and use Section 8 money for their down deposit. So they have more of a sense of self-worth and also seeing that they can also acquire this house because typically they're paying for the house. They just don't know it.
Right.
Yeah.
As tenants, they are.
Correct.
And so why not do it with you being the owner?
I'm not a landlord. You got to know what you're cut out for. I traded in my landlord hat in my 20s because in my 20s, I probably owned 60, 70 units at one time where I was the maintenance man, where I was the one that was going out getting the mortgages, where I was the one out shoveling, where I was the one going to landlord-tenant court, which I had to do in my 20s in order to know really what the game is about, as opposed to just, speaking out of my ass, if you will, pardon my French. And so with that being said, I traded in my landlord hat for being a club owner because I'd rather see my rent money every day. If I know that you're coming into my doors, you're paying me $10, you're paying for my food, you're paying for my liquor, as opposed to waiting 30 days to may or may not be getting my rent. And New Jersey's a tenant-friendly state. That's not to scare anybody, but that's just saying what you have the appetite for at the time. I'd rather take the responsibility of taking the worst house on the block and bringing it back to life, raising the values of local community, of the local properties in the community, also creating jobs in the community and cutting down on the carbon footprint. A lot of people bring outside people to renovate these houses. To me, that's the wrong thing to do because you have people with that skill set in that neighborhood that fixes these properties. And then also it's a way that you keep your investment safe too, because these people realize, no, this is where I'm working at. I'm not going to break into these properties, as opposed to feeling disenfranchised and say, listen, as soon as these guys leave, we're going to go in and steal everything. Exactly. I'm telling you things that actually happen. I'm boots on the ground. I don't live, even though I live outside of the community, but I'm also very much so in the community to understand the mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that is absolutely incredible. So I want to hit on a few things here because I feel like, a lot of people in our community, they're brand new. Some of these guys actually have a lot of experience, but I think one of the most important things is, it's the people that you surround yourself with. And for you, you are someone who has been tried and true with building team after team after team with all the different businesses that you have, the real estate business, the restaurant business, now the new real estate school that you're opening up, and all the political things that you have going on. So this is kind of like a more broader question, but I feel like it can hit on a lot of points. And when you're looking into working with someone, or maybe looking into hiring someone, right, to be part of your community, what are some of the characteristics that you look for within these people that you're interested in hiring?
The number one thing that I look for is how dedicated you are. You know what I mean? Dedication is everything. Dedication to me beats smart. It beats experience. It beats a lot of things. I mean, some of the hardest people that you work with is people who've had success in a particular arena just because their ego step into place. Ego, edging God out. EGO is what I always say.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'd rather work with novice people because they're not tainted by life yet in that particular industry.
Right.
And I'll let everybody know that you may not be the engine, but you are the windshield wiper. And if it's raining, that windshield wiper is just as important as the engine. And so we are all parts of a moving vehicle or the vehicle. You understand? You know, I don't look at it because I have this experience and that. And, you know, because you may be the door handle that, you know, I look at you any less because unless I go through Elijah to open the door, we're not going anywhere anyway. So I think that as mankind, period, if we have that mindset, we would be moving eons. I always say the planet Earth to me is a spaceship, but our egos is holding this anchor down. And if we would move as one, oh man, for modular homes, for container homes, for tiny homes, all of these things that they have, to me, and how easy it is to get housing, and they have tons of vacant land all over the country, homelessness should be a thing of the past.
Yep.
For how intelligent mankind is.
That's very true. So do you think we'll ever reach a point where homelessness doesn't exist?
I think that, you know, if we, I think we can hit it. I think this is the generation to hit it. This is the beautiful thing about everybody getting out all of their emotions and anger now, is because too many times we were being hypocritical, smiling in each other's faces, but not really talking about the issues. You know, no disrespect to banks. I love money. But when you're talking about banks is making billions of dollars off ATM fees, but you got Black Americans, white Americans, Asians Americans, veterans living under Penn Station and this and that. Come on, that's out of control. That's, to me, that just don't make no sense right there.
Right. Yeah, there's got to be like a better balance in a way.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that. So in terms of the real estate stuff, because, you know, a lot of people are wondering, like, you know, maybe they want to buy their first property, or maybe they want to, and you mentioned a 4-3-2-1 strategy. For anyone who's kind of brand new, what would you kind of recommend as the entry or the gateway to really get into the investing space? How would you recommend they go about it? Should they get licensed? Should they buy a property? What would you kind of guide them on?
Well, even if you're not going to get the license, I think that you should definitely get the real estate knowledge where you can become at least certified. You don't have to get licensed. You could take the 75-hour course and at least learn all of the rules, regulations, and lingo. Because a lot of times people come to these forums and they're just getting broad information, but real estate has a very legal aspect to it. Really, especially in New Jersey. New Jersey is the most legalized, strict state around. And so I say that go to these seminars, listen to all of these tapes and these experts, etc. But you need to go take a real estate class where you become licensed or certified to understand the business. And as you go up in the scale, people just respect that a little bit more.
That's very,
you know, but as far as the investing aspect of it, you need to purchase. If you don't own a home, be your first investor. Use that 3.5% down, buy a 3-family. Either now you could buy it already rehab and play the long game, or you could put your pants on, your big boy pants on, and get a 203K, find some credible rehabbers and people that's going to be with you. Make sure you got some money put to the side too, even though you're getting a 203K loan, and then go that route, and then you can have built-in equity. Either way, you just got to jump in though.
Absolutely. Got to burn the ships. So for someone who, let's say someone did want to get into the 203, they did want to get a 203K loan, and take on a bigger project, what do you think is a, 1 or 2 good ways to find credible contractors to really help you achieve the goal that you have in mind?
Well, you got to make sure that they have something to lose. They got to have insurance. If they could be bonded, that would be extra for you. Hopefully they have a website. It can't just be anybody that, can leave in the middle of the night. There's no way of you tracking them down. A lot of people would be like, well, my uncle could do it for me for 30,000, or my friend's friend. No, that's not what you want, because every day that you're not turning over some type of progress on a house that's just sitting before is bringing rental income, then you're just losing money. It's a money pit. So you want to make sure that they have something to lose, and just see what their last 3 projects were, and get some recommendations from the actual people that lived in the house that they said they did.
All right, guys, I'm going to do the first giveaway. Okay. Just making this up in the moment, by the way. So what I'm going to be giving away is this. I'm going to be giving away $50 to Benedict's Restaurant. So I'm going to donate $50, which has to be used at Benedict's Restaurant in Newark, and I'm going to give it away to the person who answers this question correctly. So put it in the comment section and let's see who answers it correctly. How many projects do you need to check? So you're looking at the contractor, you might want to hire them, right? You know that they have something to lose. How many projects should you check on? Benedict said a specific number. Put that number in the comment section. First person to put it gets the $50 gift certificate to Benedict's Restaurant. Put it in the comment section and I'll pull you up so you can get it. There's a slight lag time, so we'll wait for those to come in. So let's say there was a young guy out there. Let's say he's 23 years old, and let's say he wants to start, developing blocks, block at a time in these urban neighborhoods. How would you kind of recommend he get started? All right, hold on, wait. I got the answers. All right, we got a lot of people getting it. Daniel Huey, you won. Dan, you're from Brooklyn. I know who you are. I'm gonna message me, Dan, because you got my number. Message me. I'll send you. Benedict, I got to figure out how to get a $50 gift certificate to your restaurant.
Cash app him and just tell him that he's from the show.
Okay. Dan, shoot me a message. Dan won. Joseph, be faster. I love you, brother. So let's say there's a 23-year-old kid out there who wanted to also, start to get into turning around some of these lower income neighborhoods that maybe don't have as much tension as, other neighborhoods. How would you kind of recommend he go about it? Like what's some of the pieces to the puzzle that you need to have in place before you take on some of these bigger projects, such as a whole block?
Well, you got to put your winning team together. Your winning team consists of your architect. You want to have a good architect, because your architect, even if you're not building a house from the ground up, they're going to make the most use of livable space in your house. You want to make sure that you have a good realtor, a realtor that's not just interested in lining his or her pockets. They'll be able to find you the best deals. They'll be able to find you investors, and they'll be able to rent or sell your property for you. The number 3 thing another third person that you want to have is you want to have a project manager. You are the head of the operation. So you should just be answering to your department heads when you're looking to build a block or you're looking to grow your real estate at scale. Your project manager is your go-to person. They're the ones who's going to make sure that you're getting the cheapest numbers on your windows. You're going to lumber yards instead of Home Depots. You're contacting Bear Paint, because if you're doing 10 properties, you can probably get a discount. You want to make sure that you go directly to the manufacturer, but you don't have the time to do that because you're out raising money, which leads to the next people you need. You need your bankers. You need to have your banks behind you. You got your private banks and you got commercial banks, and then you also have your investors. Your investors are the ones that's going to fill in that gap financing that you need, that 20-30% that you're putting down as you're moving on your project. You also want to make sure, like you said, you have your good contractors. You want to have different contractors in different areas and in different areas of expertise. And I always tell everybody, don't just trust one contractor, because he or she is always going to think that you're making more money than you should anyway, because they're the ones that's doing the physical work. So to alleviate that mindset, have different people for different things. You have your guys that's taking care of your masonry. You have your plumbers. You have your electrical guys. Typically you should be the GC on paper, but then your project managers runs all of those different arms. So it's like an octopus, one vision, but it's a lot of different hands. And then to me, your final piece and most important piece, you want to make sure that you have your government liaison. You know, that's what in New York, that's what you call your expediters. And in Jersey, is what you call your government relations persons. They're going to be your buffer between the planning board, zoning board. They're going to be your people between getting to the mayor, getting to the chief of staff, deputy mayor, council people. They're the ones that's going to know all of the birthdays. They're the ones that's going to tell you that you need to buy this ticket because this person's going to be there in order for you to know this particular situation. And then the final piece is you want to make sure you get with all of the grassroots community people in the area, because they're the ones that's going to be, they're the heartbeat of the community, and they're going to be your ears to the streets in order for you to be able to take over an entire street.
Wow, that you literally broke that down so smooth. That was beautiful. Man, if you guys are getting value from this, make sure you hit the like and share button. That information was absolutely incredible. So listen, we're going to wrap this up within the next 10 minutes. So if you guys have questions for Benedict, put them in the comment section. I'm going to pull them up. Daniel Huey, I know you personally, so I'm going to send you 25, and I'm going to give Gene the other 25. So it's 50 total, because Gene, you look like a good guy. So shoot me a message, Gene. I'll send you 25, and Dan, I'm going to send you 25, which you guys have to use at Benedict's restaurant. So Benedict,
I want to give a giveaway.
All right, you want to do your giveaway? All right. All right, so we're going to do Benedict's giveaway. Let's see. Do you know what you want to give away?
Yeah, I'm going to give away $1,000, $100 off tuition off each person that wants to sign up to be a real estate agent, salesperson's course. So the first 10 people that want to sign up, I'll take $100 off your course.
Guys, if you guys have any interest at all in getting your real estate license, based off what Benedict is offering, now is the time to do it. So if you guys want to find out more information and definitely get the $100 off to be able to be a licensed agent and have that information, that knowledge, put it in the comment section right now. Put your email down below, and I'll send that over to Benedict so he can, so you guys can touch base and he can set you guys up. All right. So put your email in the comment section below, and I'll connect you guys with Benedict. So Benedict, I want to spend these next few minutes here kind of talking about the direction that you're going in, because I know for you over the past few years, I'm sure it's been a journey of growth. And so I just want to know you a little bit better. You know, what is it that you see for the future of yourself as well as with your company? And what are some of the things that you are really determined to accomplish over these next few years?
Man, I appreciate that. I like that question. And one of my models, I wrote something. I said, listen, I put myself in impossible positions to force myself to produce. You know, to me, comfort is probably the number one thing that brings procrastination. And it has been a lifelong dream of mine to be able to open up my own bank, to offer money to our community, communities all over. Also, I'm working on our own chamber of commerce, because so many great people want to be able to give out their talents. So I want to create that network like Celebrity Fix and Flip, where through that chamber of commerce, we have a bigger voice, almost like a voting block too, because a lot of times I feel like politicians are not business people, so they don't really understand what it takes to run a small business. You know, I was affected by the COVID. Personally, I lost over $600,000, in the restaurant business during this COVID season. And so I really feel that businesses really need to come together more, as opposed to being more egotistical as far as say, hey, look what I'm doing, and just look at what we can be able to amass as a whole when we're purchasing together. So if the Chamber of Commerce wants, 50 of us are doing real estate deals this quarter, so we'll be able to get everything at a discounted price because we're buying as a group. And one of the things that I want to work on is actually coming out with my own car line. I know there's a lot of
But you want to get in the car business, like car shows?
No, I want to actually build my own cars.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of decommissioned plants all over the country that I want to buy them and produce our own cars. Start out with 500 to 1,000 cars, and also with 3D printing, it makes making mechanical parts very easy. If you look at Boeing, if you look at Rolls-Royce, so there's a lot of scrap metal that's in these abandoned houses. So instead of shipping them over to China, we can melt them out over here and create our own American cars.
Yeah, man. I love that. All right, we had a lot of people sending me the email, so I'll connect you guys with Benedict at the end of this in a group email. Okay, so for those of you guys who are watching the replay, if you also want access to the real estate school information that Benedict is literally offering you guys right now, just shoot me a message and I'll connect with Benedict so he can help set you guys up. So Benedict, we've covered a lot. You've literally provided so much value for us this evening. For anyone who wanted to, stay in tune with your story and the direction that you're going, or, just keep up with you, what's kind of the best way for people to either get involved or to stay in touch with you? How would people be able to do that?
Well, I'm pretty active on social media. Between Facebook and Instagram, I'm probably on there too much, but to me, that's just the easiest way to bring about business and to interact with your people. So it's my full name. It's Benedict. My last name is Guerrier. And if you're interested in the school has been in existence since 2010, so we're 10 years old. It's Regal Real Estate School, RIGEL realestateschool.com. Rigel Institute, some people pronounce it that way. The name came about, Rigel, the brightest star in our constellation.
Hey, nice.
Yep.
I like that. A man of astrology.
Oh, that's the only way. That's where you get the word person from.
That's
12
right.
minerals that make the sun is the same 12 minerals that make us. Person, percentage of sun.
Man. Gems. Listen, guys, if you guys got any value out of this event, make sure you do me a huge favor, okay? Make sure you connect with Benedict. Definitely a good guy to be around. And please like and share this with your friends so we can get this message out to as many people as possible. Benedict, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on here with us. And it was an absolute honor for me to share these moments with you.
Absolutely. Are we able to repost this and share it? You're going to record it?
Yeah, this is going to be live. It's going to be broadcast. It's going to be streamed. It's already recorded. So as soon as we're done, you can do whatever you want with it. All right.
Nice. I'll see you soon.
All right, brother. Chat soon. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Peace out.